So immigration must be controlled, selective, and fair. This is what the UK Prime Minister said in the white paper on immigration published a couple of days ago. And it is making headlines. It is raising eyebrows. People have got something to say about the white paper. And so I wanted to come on here and give my 2 cents as well. Let us talk about it. Because if you're an immigrant, especially if you are my fellow African, then this is going to affect you. So what exactly do I make of the paper, or what do I think about everything that the Prime Minister said and what is contained in the white paper? So I want to break it all down and share the things that I agree with and those things that I feel we need to start thinking about on a more serious note. So I have written down some points what the UK Prime Minister said, because I listened to his speech and I noted down the points that I wanted to cover in this video. I mean, there's quite a few things, but I only took what I want to address in this video. So the first point that I want to highlight, something that caught my attention as I was listening to the Prime Minister's speech. This is what he said. He said this new immigration white paper talks about taking back control. And it's not just about taking control of borders, but of values. This is what he said. So when he said that, that really got my attention. And he also said, we must stop our addiction to cheap labor. This is what he said. And he also said, settlement must be earned. And he said that it is going to be easy if you contribute. And he also said that we must repair that social contract. And he also said that fair rules must be followed. And migration must work in the national interest. This is kind of like the sum total. The Prime Minister is also calling out on international student numbers. He's asking, why is it that the universities in the UK are only or mostly filled with international students? Maybe not in those exact words, but basically he's calling out on the numbers of international students in the UK's colleges and universities. And he even said that people who want to come to Britain must learn the language. You must be able to speak English if you want to stay in the UK. And the criteria, the visa criteria is going to be stricter. Yeah, measures are going to be put in place. So yeah, as I listened to the speech and as I read the white paper, it is clear to me that there's a new tone. There is a tone that is no longer apologetic. There is a tone that is strategic. There is a tone that is firm. And to be honest with you, as I read the white paper, I'm not going to go through the white paper, by the way. I think most of us by now already know what is contained in the white paper. But as I listened to the speech and as I read the white paper, there are some things that I actually agree with, to be honest with you. It is time that we have fairness. I agree with that. When it comes to immigration, I totally agree with that. Fairness, I believe, is important, because even if someone is an immigrant, as long as they are contributing, they are pulling their weight, they deserve to be treated fairly, whether at work or in any area of life. So I agree with that point, 100%. Another point as well that I agree with 100% is the fact that the UK should stop relying on cheap labor. It is not okay to rely on immigrants to do low-paid jobs with no pathway to any kind of progression whatsoever. It is not okay. There is a name for that, and it is called exploitation. And this is not what we want in our society. So when it comes to that, I agree with it 100%. Now, there's a part that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, and that's the part about contribution. How exactly do you measure contribution? What criteria? What criteria are they going to be using? Because when it comes to contribution, I mean, in the UK, we've got immigrants who do all kinds of jobs. I understand that for doctors, for nurses, I mean, things tend to be a little bit straightforward because, those are key workers and, they're needed. But what about other immigrants who do other jobs? How is that contribution going to be measured? Because there are immigrants who are not nurses, who are not doctors, who are not carers, who are not in these key worker roles, prominent roles, but who are actually pulling their weight behind the scenes, who are actually holding up the NHS, other sectors as well in the UK. So how exactly is contribution going to be measured? What criteria is going to be used? I'm sure there's a criteria. I'm sure they figured it out, but this is me just posing a question. I don't know what others think about this question. about criteria. What are your thoughts? What do you make of this? And also, the truth is, this white paper is tightening everything. It is tightening, the criteria for family, work visas, student visas. It is tightening quite a few things. And while fairness is the headline, it is like the end goal, right? There's also pressure behind the scenes because we have immigrants already in the UK who are studying, who are on some type of visa, who don't have their families with them yet. I mean, people are in all kinds of situations, immigrants, that is. And looking at this white paper and what is being proposed, the tightening of these things, one can't help but wonder, how is this all going to play out in real life? And this is why I'm saying there's pressure behind the scenes because it is going to affect a lot of people one way or the other. So, this is something that I was thinking about as I was reading this white paper, the pressure behind the scenes, how this might affect those who are already here, who are not yet settled, who don't have that settled status yet. How are they going to be impacted? How is their family life going to be impacted? All those questions, one can't help but wonder. Now, when it comes to the implications for immigrants, especially my fellow Africans, what does this mean for us, for our situation, and what sort of things should we be thinking about right now? The first thing I'll say is this is a wake up call. It's a huge wake up call. I mean, you can clearly see that the times have changed quite a lot. And I always say that things have changed since I came to this country 25 years ago. When I came to this country, I'm not saying that the visa rules were easy. Far from it. Things were not easy. But what I'm saying is, it is plain to see that we can't afford to bury our heads in the sand. We can't afford. And if you're planning to come to the UK, whether you're coming from Africa, from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, wherever, or if you're coming from another part of the world, then yeah, this is now the time to come up with some sort of plan, to think ahead. This is the time to be realistic about the whole situation. And this is what I'll say. I mean, this is just the way I look at things, my opinion. I'm not saying that, I'm prescribing this to immigrants or people who are planning to come to the UK. No, I'm just giving some suggestions. What I'll say is, if you're back in Africa, maybe you're in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, or if you're in another part of the world and you're planning to relocate to the UK, now is the time to be realistic about the whole situation. What I'll suggest is, look at your situation in your country. Are you working? And how much are you earning? Because I think that one thing we fail to understand, not everyone, because I know some of us understand this, but some people may not understand this part. But I'll give an example. £1,000 in the UK means nothing. It is nothing. It can barely, I'm not saying that you can't live on it. You could, but looking at the cost of living in the UK nowadays, realistically speaking, you will struggle if you earn £1,000. On the other hand, if you've got £1,000 in Zimbabwe, for example, that is a lot of money. I'm not saying that in Zimbabwe they use pounds, no, but if you convert it, whatever currency we use in Zimbabwe, the ZiG or the dollar, that will be a lot of money. Someone can live off of that £1,000 a month. So if you're in Zimbabwe and you earn $1,000 a month, you are rich. I mean, let's go a thing. You are rich. So you want to look at your situation and weigh things properly before you make that move to come to the UK. Because as you can clearly see, the rules are being tightened, everything is being tightened. And if you want to bring your family, will you be able to bring your family? And if you're looking for a job, now that the UK is prioritizing British workers, what are your chances? How long is that going to take you? I'm not saying that it is not possible. It is possible, but I'm just reacting to this white paper, how things are changing. And I'm saying now is the time to be realistic about everything. Yes, if someone says, oh, come to the UK, come and work, you can do this, you can earn this amount of money and so on. That is well and good, but take your time, take the time to do your own research and make up your own mind. Don't listen to people. This should be your own decision so that tomorrow you're not going to cry saying, so and so told me, come, things are going to be easy. And when it comes to growth, like career growth, making that significant contribution, because that is what the UK wants now. Now is the time to look at your career growth. Start putting in the work. Go to school if you need to go to school, go to university, go to college, earn. Because, yeah, as I listened to the speech as well, and as I read through the white paper, I also gathered that the criteria when it comes to qualifications is now going to be upped. They are now going to start considering the level of education from the degree level upwards. So I'm saying that now is the time to really look at your situation realistically and ask yourself what you need to do to up your game. Like I said in my other videos, yeah, sometimes we focus on working on those shifts and we forget about career progression. We forget to work to grow. We work to survive rather than working to grow, to improve ourselves. And I'm saying, I mean, looking at this white paper and listening to the Prime Minister's speech, I'm saying that those days are long gone. And yes, learn the language, learn the English language, understand the culture, do your best to integrate, because doing so doesn't make you any less African. It doesn't make you any less Nigerian, Kenyan. It doesn't make you less Indian. Wherever you come from, it doesn't remove, it doesn't take away anything from you. It just makes you adaptable. And being able to adapt is a good thing. It shows growth on your part. So, really, this is not about fear, it's about strategy at the end of the day. And if you want to stay, then you need to adapt. You need to go with the program, as it were. And another thing as well that I want to mention, and this one is a major one. When I listened to the Prime Minister's speech, he said something that really touched me. He talked about the contribution of immigrants towards Britain, because there are times when, as immigrants, we feel as if maybe the natives of this country do not appreciate us, but I can assure you they do. There are people out there, the natives of this country, who appreciate the contributions of immigrants, who value that contribution. So, yeah, this is something that, yeah, as I said, it touched me and I appreciated hearing those words actually. Yeah, I really did. Now, anyway, to conclude this video, back to my reaction, whether you like the UK Prime Minister or not, according to my opinion, when I listened to his speech, he was being real about the situation. He was telling it like it is. Now is not the time for us to panic. It is time for us to be strategic in everything that we do. It is time for us to step up our game and have those important conversations, as I said, because things are changing and fast. Because if you're an immigrant, you're already here, then you already understand what it took you to come to the UK. You already understand the level of courage that it took for you to leave your life behind to come to the UK. As I said, now it's not the time to panic. It is time to survive, not just survive, but to actually thrive. So, yeah, this is what I wanted to say. This is my reaction to the white paper. I don't know what you think about everything I've said. What are your thoughts? As always, you know what to do in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.